Hello, friends, and welcome to Rise Up in Real Estate, where we are on a quest. We are looking for the extra in the ordinary. And I'm Tad Fulford, and I will be your host on this journey where we will take an honest look at what makes ordinary people extraordinary. Exactly how can we be extra in our personal and our professional lives? In this season of the Rise Up in Real Estate adventure, there will be a monthly rhythm, meaning each month we will have 4 unique episodes. In one episode, we'll tackle a pressing current real estate industry thought. In another, we will chat with a local difference maker in the real estate space. For our 3rd episode, we will host a respected national thought leader. And finally, we will have a 4th bonus and surprise episode. And in each episode, we will be digging into not only what those people think, but who those people are. Along the way, it's my hope that you'll laugh some, you'll be challenged some, you will get inspired some, and if we are lucky, maybe even figure out a way or two you can rise up in your own life and be the best human that you can be. So the challenge is, let's all rise up. So we're here today at Rise Up in Real Estate, and I'm so excited. I'm excited for a different reason today because I have a guest on, and this guy is just a genuine human being, but I don't know a ton about him yet. Like, we know a little bit about each other's businesses, Todd, but we don't know, I don't know some of the questions I'm getting ready to ask you, and I'm excited about that because a lot of my guests I'm familiar with. So this will be fun for me, and hopefully you're not like a closet criminal. I'm going to learn that on the call. But if so, you know what? We'll probably get a lot of listens if that's the case.
That's right.
Yeah. So welcome to Rise Up in Real Estate. Todd Stock, coming from Indiana. Todd, thanks for being here.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Tad. I'm excited to be here today.
Yeah, it's great. What's the weather like in Indiana today?
It's nice today. It's pretty mild. It's going to be probably high 70s, low 80s, and partly cloudy. It's a great day.
That's awesome. So here in coastal South Carolina, if we say it's mild, that's like 94. So when you say high 70s, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah, it's good here.
We've
got about 3 or 4 months that are great here.
Yeah, and tell me a little bit about yourself. What is it? Introduce yourself to our listeners and to me. Tell me who you are and your family, etc.
Yeah, so my name's Todd Stock, and I live in Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is up in the northeast corner of Indiana. I've been here for about 9 years. But I'm originally from a small town north of here called Angola, and I am the 3rd generation in my family to be in real estate. My parents, we have an office still in that community, and let's see, I've got a lovely wife, Melyssa. We've been married 23 years, and 3 beautiful daughters, 19, 17, and 15. And I went off to college. I grew up in the business. I got my license when I was 18. Small community resort, I would say resort with 100 lakes in our county, and then also kind of a farming rural community. My family was very entrepreneurial. I learned the value of hard work really early. My dad and mom grew up on farms, and my mom's father was very entrepreneurial. He worked at a bank. He was a developer, and he had a farm, and he had a little real estate company on the side. And that's when my dad got involved back in the, I want to say late 60s, early 70s. Then I was really involved in athletics. I think a lot of people who know me now probably associate me with being really active. And went away to college to play college basketball, and ended up playing tennis and basketball in college, and then decided I didn't want to do that anymore. And I transferred to Indiana University, which is where I met my wife. And my last 2 years, a little thing a lot of people don't know about me is I got my license when I was 18 because my dad said, you ought to go get your license, and you always have it, and then go off to college. My last 2.5 years that I was in Bloomington, where Indiana University is, I went and met the owner of the Remax. My parents bought a Remax franchise in 1991. This would have been like 93. And I went and met Jim Regester. He's still the owner. And I went in, my mom knew Jim and said, my son might need a job. Maybe he can run signs or do something. And I interviewed with him, and he said, I'll tell you what, put your coat in the corner. Let's get started. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, well, I need an assistant. My other one just left, so you can work for me. And so my last 2.5 years in college, I was the personal assistant for the broker owner, who at that time had a nice size office, and he did some development in commercial real estate. And I worked for him. And so I just learned a ton while I was going to college. And met my wife, and then got a great job in corporate America for about a year. Wanted to stay in real estate, but I had no money, and real estate was in my blood. So within a year, I just told my parents I want to come home and I want to get involved and I want to sell real estate. And met my wife while I was at IU, and we ended up getting married a couple of years later, and that was my journey. And that's a whole nother story that led me into ownership and why I ended up moving to Fort Wayne through my partner Larry. But it's been quite a journey. Really, real estate's what I've done most of my life.
So you are extremely unique. My wife also only knew real estate. Like she bought her first franchise 17 years ago, and she was right out of college. So that's unique. Most people like me did something else and then stumbled our way into entrepreneurism. But you were born and raised in it. It sounds like. It's also, I wish the listeners could see you, because they wouldn't believe you've been married 23 years. And you've got teenage daughters. You look like you're about 20. You've done well for yourself. Tell me, I wanted to ask you a question off the record, because my son plays quite a bit of basketball. He was a good high school basketball player. What position did you play in college basketball?
I was a two guard. I was a shooting guard.
Okay. And were you a pretty good shooter?
I was okay. Yeah, I was all right. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't play college basketball. He's so super modest, too. That's pretty cool. And you have three daughters. What is that like being the dad? I mean, you're a busy entrepreneur, busy. We'll get to that in a second. But what's it like being dad of three teenage daughters, man? That's crazy.
It is. There's never a dull moment. I'll say that. Yeah.
Are they all
They're
different?
amazing. They're all really active girls. My wife's a school teacher. She's an amazing mother, really engaged. But my girls are really active. They're my oldest daughter is a collegiate swimmer, and my middle daughter plays really high school basketball here at a large high school. And we've done the travel sports scene for the last 8 or 10 years. I was gone more weekends in the summer than I was home. And then my youngest daughter, Caroline, now plays tennis. So if I'm at work, I'm really busy. And if I'm at home, I'm really busy. That's pretty much how life is right now.
Oh, my goodness. And almost every time we're at a conference, you get lucky because you see me when I'm in the gym for 15 minutes. But you're in there every time I'm there. Like your physical fitness is still a big part of your life even today.
Yeah, it's funny. I always feel like in order to be my best, be the best husband, father, leader of the company, I just got to take care of myself first. And I would say I've always been really active because I loved it, played basketball and was a runner for a while. But the older I've gotten, I've just realized you need to make your health a priority. And for me, I'm just not at my best if I'm not trying to work out almost every day. And I'm not as, I could do better like anybody, but I just try. It's one of the big rocks I try to put in terms of priorities every day. And if I do, I'm a lot better. Everybody else likes me a lot better when I'm trying to work out every day.
Yeah. If you guys could see Todd, he's always got the same smile on his face. I wanted to ask you, is it anything that makes you, when do you not have a smile on your face? What kind of irks you a little bit? Anything get under your skin, like other than your daughters, like certain times, but what about?
Well, my daughters can send me off the deep end for sure. So,
okay.
I try to keep a pretty level, even demeanor. I would say by nature, I'm pretty emotional. I really connect with people. I love to train and coach. And that's just been probably the way that I self-govern myself in terms of trying to keep a level head. And if I get worked up, I try to take a break or know that if I sleep on it, it's going to be better the next day. So that's just part of my nature, I guess.
Yeah, that's interesting. I love that about you. Tell me, so you're in a different part of the country than we are. We're on the coast of South Carolina, so different time zone. Thank you for rearranging your schedule to be here today with us. What is the market like where you are? Has it been similar to what we are? Have you had a real big run up in prices, sellers doing whatever they wanted, buyers not getting what they wanted? Tell me a little bit about what it was like and where's it changing into, if anything?
Yeah, it's been really similar. I mean, the market's been overheated. I mean, at one point, the months of supply went to days. It was 17 days. We've heard stories of listing agents taking a listing and getting 17, 20 offers. We had one agent, I think it was about a year ago, get 29 offers on a property. It just was overheated. I mean, demand was just so strong. Nothing that the sellers could do would really slow it down. And now we've seen it slow down. The market, I think, is really decelerated, but it's still great. I mean, it's still, like they say, maybe 2019 levels. But everything's relative, for agents and people out, the consumers out there. It feels a lot slower because it was overheated, but we're still in a record market right now. So it's getting better. I think a balanced market is going to do a lot of good for a lot of people. I think it's healthy. I think it's going to be good for our company and our agents too. But it's been, we've seen appreciation rates. We're in the Midwest, so I'm guessing a little more modest than where you guys are. But I mean, it's been anywhere from 9 to 12% a year lately,
Right.
and no inventory. I mean, it's been really, really hot market.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to connect the dots for my listeners because I don't want them to be misled about who you are. What do you do for day to day? Do you list and sell still?
I do not. I list and sold full time for 17 years. I had a team, sold a lot of real estate. And then when I merged with my former partner, Larry Phillips, we became a regional company. So I merged my company with his in Fort Wayne. And the goal was for me to phase out of selling. And during that 5-year period, which it took about 5 years, we continued to expand. We merged in 2008, by the way. And
Okay.
then the sky fell. And then as we continued to grow, my partner Larry really has a special skill set in mergers and acquisitions. And so we continue to have opportunities to expand our operation. And then in 2013, I packed my family up, my wife and daughters, and we moved down to Fort Wayne, about an hour away, and I quit selling. So my job now is to run this company and help our agents be successful and have thriving careers and lead our team to help them do that.
That's neat. Does Larry have an active day-to-day role also?
He still does. I officially bought Larry out October 1st last year, so it's coming up on 1 year. But he's still, as he puts it, he's still on the payroll. He comes in maybe a couple mornings a week, but he does a lot of work from home on the financial side. He does all the market data and stats, and works with our CFO on all of our financials and pays close attention to all that.
Yeah.
I joke, I got the red phone on the desk, kind of like, the president used to have the red phone. Anytime I need to call Larry, he's still available for consulting whenever I need him. Every once in a while, as an owner, you get a day like that.
You've known him for a long time?
Yeah, I mean, I've probably known Larry for 25 years almost. I mean, at least 20. Larry, I think Larry started his company, I think it was 89. And then in 99, they joined Remax. And my parents were already Remax, and I came home in 96. So I met Larry right away. I gravitated to him. He was like a mentor to me before we became partners years later, which was really cool.
That's neat. Now, do you have siblings, like brothers, sisters, or your family still in real estate?
So funny, I have one sister, Amy. She's a couple years younger. She lives in Indianapolis. And we are the tale of two tales of the story. I ran to real estate, and she basically ran as far away from real estate as possible. And she's got a great family and husband, and they live down there. But she was in marketing, worked at Eli Lilly, which I think a lot of people maybe would have heard of them, big pharmaceutical company. She's doesn't work out of the home now. She has a business that she does for cooking and does some cool things there. But she wants she doesn't have anything to do with the business.
That's interesting.
Of course, I was all in from day one.
And do you have any inklings that any of your children have it in their system at all? Your 3 daughters?
I don't know. They ask me about it every once in a while. My oldest, definitely not. She has aspirations to go to dental school.
Okay.
And then my middle one and my youngest, the jury's still out. So they need to shadow me probably a little bit before they make that decision, I would say.
If you live or own property along the coast of South Carolina, you probably need insurance. We Insure Advocates is a locally owned independent agency with industry-leading service support. Our team of customer-centric agents can explain your coverage options and help you craft an insurance program that fits your needs and budget. Data-driven for better value, people-led for better service. That's the difference of we. For all of your property insurance needs, please find us at weinsureadvocates.com or call us at 843-491-6990. I know. I just had lunch with someone a little while ago, and they were asking. I've got a 27-year-old and a 20-year-old. My 20-year-old's in college. My 27-year-old daughter, has no interest. I don't think she would work with dad. if that was the only job left. We get along great, but she knows better, and
Yeah.
then my son, who's a sophomore in college now, he asks me this summer, he said, I'm going to get my real estate license. I said, are you sure? I'm not trying to talk them out of it, but I want them to understand, what this entrepreneur's life is like. And since
Yeah.
2008, I mean, let's be honest, it's been amazing. Like, it has been a great career, but here
Right.
we are on the brink of uncertainty again, right? I mean, I don't know how many times this can happen. I think I heard Dave Lineker say 7 times he's been through a major recession with his brand. But here we are on the brink of uncertainty. Where do you think we're headed? Where do you think we're headed next with this market? What are you guys seeing in the Midwest, and what do you think?
Yeah. Well, I think historically speaking, we've always been fortunate here. We don't have quite the highs that you probably do, and we don't have quite the lows. But I mean, having lived through 2008, 9, it was rough. I mean, you talk about some badges of honor and some scars in terms of it being an entrepreneur. I mean, I learned so much from that time, and it's helped us run this business at a much higher level ever since. And you try to not forget about that stuff. I know some of the coaches and people we follow, they talk about never forgetting where you've been and your low points. I mean, I think you learn a lot from that. I think the market, all the fundamentals are still really good. I think there are a lot of controls in place on rates and lending where we're never going to see a meltdown like we saw last time. But I do think we're going to see a market that cools off and that gets a lot more balanced. And as we see it cool down, and we're doing a big training event in a couple of weeks, I think what's going to change, and this is what I think agents need to be mindful of, is the dynamics in the market change. The conversations that you have with sellers change. Expectations. I think the market's changing quicker than the consumer's expectations. And that's where that divide is where agents can provide huge value by counseling them through that right now. I mean, we have a new agent who has had the strongest start of anyone I've seen in my 26 years in the business. His first full year, he did $15 million in business. He's tremendous, super skilled, great guy. But he stopped me about a month or two ago outside one of the offices and said, hey, I got this listing. I've had it on the market for 4 days and we haven't sold it. And the seller called me and they're so frustrated. What do you think I ought to tell them? And I thought, my goodness, I remember when we have a listing for a year and couldn't get it sold. But it's just a really good indication of what would Nick Bailey say at the Broker Owner Conference? The median number of years realtors have been in the business is like 5 years right now. They just not seen a market with these kind of dynamics. And so the conversations that you're having, managing expectations, presenting absorption rates, months of supply, there's just a lot of skills that have always been the hallmarks of really top-notch agents that have been required. I don't think have been. I think people have gotten away with it. And, you get a market growing by 10% a year, you don't have to do a great CMA. They kind of take a guess and they ballpark it and they get away with it. I think that's going to change moving forward.
Yeah, I like what you said. The difference, there's a gap between, I did a video on this last week, that agents expect a certain speed of business. And when it doesn't happen, they get discouraged. Instead of the resilient thing to do is to say, hey, let's turn this let's be the experts. Let's not let our clients and customers get discouraged. Let's guide them through the changes. So I like that. So tell me about that training event you're doing. Tell me what's that look like?
Yeah. So we do a ton of training in-house, but we've created a real estate training and collaboration platform called Success in Real Estate. Okay. And we're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And that platform, we provide weekly videos and training tips to the entire real estate community, including our own people. But about 3 or 4 times a year, we do an offsite big training event where we'll bring in national speakers and we'll just bring really relevant training to the marketplace. And we invite everybody. We get it underwritten by a local lender, Hallmark Home Mortgage, that we work with. They're great. And we're doing a big event called Winning in a Shifting Market. It's in about 2.5 weeks. I think everything's dropping today on social media for it. But I'm going to be the keynote this time. It's going to be my first event where I'm the speaker. We've had a lot of great speakers in over the years, and we're excited about it.
Winning in a shifting market.
Yes.
So what I want you to do is when we're done, for the listeners, I will add in the show notes your Success in Real Estate platform. I'm sure you have a YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all of that. They could go and
Yeah.
follow you if they want to.
Yeah.
In my
That'd be
opinion,
great.
and I think that's part of the beauty of us talking to a guy in the Midwest is, it's comforting to me to hear that there are winners in shifting markets in other places. Like you're not an island. Like I saw the movie Castaway the other day with Tom Hanks. Remember him in the volleyball?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
want to be that guy. So we'll put the success in real estate in our show notes,
Yeah,
along
that's
with
great.
your contact information too. We'll get that out there. Well, I'm excited for you to be the keynote. That's always a
Yeah.
nerve-wracking and exciting experience at the same
Yes.
time.
Yes. We're working hard on the material. We already have it, my staff and I have been really prepping and getting ready, but it's going to be go time to step up and do it. But
How many people you think will be there?
we typically have anywhere from probably 70 to 90 people live that show up, and then we've started live streaming the event as well. So we'll have a live stream link up. It'll be in all the social media comments and posts. And I think live stream, we just started that last time, and we maybe had 20 or 30 on there for that.
Yeah, that's neat. Well, some of our listeners will do that. I bet that's the reason they're on here. They want to connect, and I would encourage you to do that, guys. Go out there and listen to see what they have to say. It's not going to be just like this podcast. It's not a Remax commercial. It's a real estate. It's a real estate symposium where you just hear the facts and your opinion on where we're headed. And I think that's a pretty cool.
That's right.
That invite. We'll live stream in there. So tell me this. I like to ask this question. It's always a good one because I really encourage all of our listeners to do the same thing and be able to answer this question. If you had to tell me what your superpower is, like if we were on a desert island and we were like, what can Todd bring to the table that no one else brings? And I have my own philosophy about why we are this way or why we get this way. But what do you think is your super strength, Todd? And I'm brag on yourself for a second. I know it's awkward to do that, but tell me what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a really tough question for me to answer. I would say one of the things that I love about my job now is I love helping other people. I love helping people grow. I would say personally and professionally. I get a lot of satisfaction out of that in my life of helping others. And I would say coaching, leading my team. I love collaborating when I have big decisions to make. I like to have people around that I really trust and I believe in. I call my leadership team. We all meet every Monday, but I call them the A team because they're amazing people. And they're all better at what they do than I could do myself.
Yeah.
So I guess I take a lot of pride that I've been able to get a group of people around me like that are so great and help them grow and do more. And same with our agents. I love coaching. I do a lot of meetings with agents where we'll coach them on their business. And, I think that's what helped me gravitate where I am. And, had I not loved that, I probably would still be selling real estate, but it's just something that really fulfills me.
It sounds like you enjoy, I don't know if the listeners caught this, but I don't think you said, I'm not trying to get you in trouble here. You didn't say love when you talk about your daughters or your wife. I know you love them, but you use the word love quite a few times in that explanation of that part of your job, which that's exactly what I was getting at. What is it that kind of lights your fire? And it sounds like you love to see people develop so that they can live the life they should live. Like you probably get a lot of satisfaction. I see in your staff or your agents travel, go on trips they never thought they'd be able to go on. Right? You feel that?
Oh, it's amazing. You help an agent or somebody that gets in the real estate business and they just thrive. I mean, you're able to see them change the trajectory of their life. It's really good stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. I feel you and I have a lot in common with that. We call it abundance.
Yeah.
We're trying to, build the business that you need to live the life that you want to live. And we want to be in your corner doing that. So that's cool. That's a really good one. And I know that's awkward. I mean, but I would encourage everybody. I mean, you need to take a minute, in my opinion, to figure out what you're best at. I think we spend so much time. Like I have somebody on our staff. If I asked her that, she'd say, I love spreadsheets. And I would line my cat litter box with spreadsheets. I don't care about spreadsheets. I like productivity and I like success, but I don't like that. And I was a math major in college, but that's what rings Ashley's bell. Like when I say Excel, she just lights up, right? So if you don't figure out that lane for yourself, you're leaving a void in the world, kind of. Like imagine if you weren't tuned into the fact that you're passionate about development. Imagine the people that wouldn't be affected, right?
That's right.
It's just like that movie. What's that Christmas movie that A Miracle on 31 Some Street, where they took that guy
34th
out
Street.
of the picture for a while. They took George out, and you saw how everybody's life was different when he was gone. Same with you. Like there's a huge amount of people that we all impact, and we need to be tuned into that. So I appreciate you taking the risk to answer that question.
I appreciate you asking.
Other people know that about you too, I bet. If I asked your staff, they'd probably say that. Same thing.
Well, I hope so, but you never know. But yeah, I love helping people develop and grow. And I think, at some level, I personally love, I have this, rule 1% a day. I just try to get a little better every day and stay committed to growth and have the right mindset. And when you get people around you in that same mode, it's powerful stuff.
Do you enjoy this podcast and you're wondering how you can start your own? Well, you're in luck. We help entrepreneurs launch their podcast in 4 weeks. My name is Haley Murch, and my team and I manage this podcast. I'm a podcast expert who specializes in helping entrepreneurs launch their podcast. Podcasts are a great way to expand your audience, provide a free resource for your audience, and to grow and monetize your business. We have openings this fall to help entrepreneurs start their podcasts. We would love to help you achieve this goal before the end of the year. Don't keep waiting. The podcast world needs your voice. We also offer support after the launch process to help maintain your podcast, and we do provide other services to current podcasters. If any of this sounds like something you want to do and need support with your podcast journey, please contact me at hello@haleymerch.com, HAILIMURCH.com, or see the links in the show notes to book a call. We cannot wait to help you start your podcast.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I did a scary exercise I challenge my listeners to do, and you too, is if you haven't ever done it, ask the 5 closest people to you. Let's rule out your family. Don't ask your wife and daughters, but maybe not your family directly, but 5 closest people that you're with to tell you the one word that they think of when they think of you. Just one word. Or they can do 2 or 3 words, but I like just one word. And you tell them, just email that to me in a day and let me know what's the first thing that comes in your mind. And you want them to be totally transparent, right? To be honest, but it's eye-opening. It may be what you expect, or it may not be.
Right.
Kind of eye-opening.
I like that.
We'll try that. Tell me, I always like to end with 2 questions. You probably can't believe we've been on here for almost 30 minutes, but it just goes by like that when we're having this conversation. I love this. I like to end with 2 things. And so if you don't have an answer for them, there's nothing on, no sweat at all. What is a good book that maybe, and I'll put this in the show notes too, something that you've read even recently, maybe not recently, that maybe our listeners could pick up on and gain some growth, personal or professional, it doesn't matter, either way. You have one?
Oh, there's been so many great books that I've read over the years. Early on for me, this is just an old classic, but I mean, if people are wanting to start this journey of personal growth, Think and Grow Rich. I mean, I think I read it when I was 20, and it just had a big impact on me and my mindset, and it led me to read a lot of other great books. That was just a big one for me. I mean, obviously, you could talk about the book when I say the Bible, and I'm certainly not very well read there, but I do have a devotional, and try to read every day. And your faith's got to be really important to you to stay grounded in your life and have a foundation. But Think and Grow Rich, in terms of a mindset for me to attack life, was a big deal. There's been a bunch of other ones. Atomic Habits has been kind of hot the last 5 years. That book was just really remarkable to me as far as creating lasting change in your life. That was really good. Another one, The Compound Effect, kind of real similar, about creating daily habits in your life. Those books were really good for me to read.
Yeah, this is people that know me that are listening to the show. And we do have a few international listeners, which is crazy. Like somebody's will be on here this week from Germany, which is, I think, is neat. But the people that know me on this show, I wouldn't have mentioned Think and Grow Rich but Napoleon Hill, I think that's who that is.
Yeah.
But the other 3 books that you mentioned, I mention almost every time I talk to someone. Like we've foundationally the Bible, obviously, but Atomic Habits and it's interesting that you and I, we don't know each other that well, but for some reason I felt compelled to invite you on the show. But I think we're kind of like-minded in that way, because Darren Hardy's Compound Effect changed my life. I mean, it was literally overnight that I was like, how simple is it really? If you did,
Yes, I found that
complicated.
book a lot more digestible than Atomic Habits in terms it was I thought a pretty straightforward read, and it was like, wow, it is. You want to create some leverage in your life, just do these simple things consistently, and it was amazing.
Yeah, and it's almost like Atomic Habits by James Clear was like nothing against Darren Hardy, because one of the most impactful humans I've ever met. But almost like James Clear took it to like a master's collegiate level when he started digging into Atomic Habits. It was a whole.
Yeah.
It was.
I'm reading Darren Hardy's The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster right now, and it's really good.
Yes, that is He's so. I did his hero's journey last year with him, and that guy is just so solid. I mean, there's not even a word for the depth and level of his service to our industry and all entrepreneurs. The thing I appreciate about Darren Hardy is he's not just a real estate guy.
Right.
He's a life business guy.
Right.
Great story. So those are good answers. The last thing that I like to ask, and I think you touched on it in this question, is the name of the podcast is Rise Up. Our goal here is to try to just rise above the mediocrity, kind of above the fray, the nonsense, the complaining, all of that. Is there something that you do day to day that you could recommend to our listeners that might help them rise up? What's something you do on a daily basis? You kind of mentioned a few things already, but I'm not going to pull them out of you that you think help you rise up.
Well, one of the things I try to do, and I'm not as consistent as I would like, but I really try to have a morning routine that gets me really grounded and focused for the day. And that includes when I get up, and this is just a series of things I picked up over the years. But when I get up, the very first thing I do is I look at my goals. The very first thing I do, and I got them on my phone on my notes. I heard it at a convention, at our R4 convention, at one of the Sharks. I think it was Damon that was there, and it was the first thing he looked at before bed and when he woke up. I don't do it before bed, but I read them. I have 10. They've been the same now for a couple of years. They're all about my life, not just business. In fact, maybe only one is about business, but I read those, and then I have a devotional. I try to read that. I actually have a second one now, but I just read those. They're short. I have a journal. I try to journal, even if it's short, just about the day before, what's going on, anything on my mind. I think it does a lot to just give you really good perspective in your life. I think sometimes it gets a little crazy and you lose perspective, but I do that. And then I always try to have a book I'm reading, and I've had this goal, kind of what I would call like a micro commitment, but I just try to read at least 3 pages a day. And that some days is 10 or 20. And some days I'm reading page 3 as fast as I can, because I got to run to go do my workout or whatever. But I kind of do that, and then I work out. And for me, that just gets me really grounded and ready to tackle the day. And I'm in the right frame of mind when I walk out the door. And so I would say for me, that's if I don't get that done, which is not very often, I'm just not where I want to be mentally for the day. So I guess that would be at my morning routine.
Yeah. Are you an early riser?
Not by nature. I am because I've it's been a discipline and a habit I've put in my life. But if by nature, no. I mean, I could work all night sometimes, but I'm up. My family's up early. My wife's out the door by 6:45 every morning. We are up and at 'em and going.
Yeah. What I've learned over my life is swimmers have to get up early too. Like swim practice. If you swim in high school, that's the real deal. I played a lot of sports, but man, swimmers they were at the gym at 5, pool at 5 or 4 in the morning before school. Crazy.
Yes.
You're a swimmer in college now, so that's a real thing.
Yeah. Until my daughter, my oldest daughter, got her license, my morning routine consisted of driving her to swim practice at 4:45 or 5 a.m. and then I'd start the routine when I got home. But yeah, that's a very disciplined sport for sure.
Did you read the book The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod?
No, but I've heard about it, and I would like to read it.
That is, you actually we're reading it as a director group now with our team, and you kind of described what he would call a miracle morning. But it's a great book. There's a good foundation behind it about why he discovered that, and but what you just touched on, I hope everybody's paying attention to routine and the things that you mentioned on a regular basis throughout this call that you do to be the guy that you are. And listen, tell me how, if there's somebody out there that would like to reach out to you, what's the best way to get a hold of you? I know Success in Real Estate, but tell me your contact information, and I'll put it in the show notes as well.
Sure, absolutely. Well, my email is simple. It's todd@toddstock.net.
Okay.
That's the easy way to email me. You can connect with me on Facebook or Instagram. Just search my name. I'll pop up. You can DM me there anytime. My cell, if you want my cell number, you can have it. It's 260-316-7731. You can text or call anytime. And I'd say that those are probably the best ways to reach out to me. Well, I was going to mention one book that I read recently.
Yeah.
That was just a great for fun book, was Living with a SEAL. Living with a Navy SEAL. You ever heard of that book?
I have, yeah.
Great fun book. It's a good read, and it's very entertaining. It's a true story, but it in addition to being fun, it's just really sheds a light on all the self-imposed limitations we put on yourself, and that we're just we are capable of so much more than we realize. But it's a fun read.
Every time we say a book, it makes me think of another book. So we better not go down this rabbit hole. But I need to think of another one, but I won't mention it today. So you guys don't understand how valuable it is, probably as listeners, to understand that this is a busy guy, really successful in his craft. I'm sure if we had some of his agents on here, they would brag about who he is. And he just gave you his cell phone number, his email, his text. The whole purpose of Rise Up in Real Estate is to increase your network so that you can have a foundation of people that you can lean on. I promise you, if you reach out to Todd, he'll reach back. So I'm hoping it'll help you. Todd, you've been an incredible guest. Thank you for being on Rise Up in Real Estate. And I hope from here, all you have this year is blessings and success and prosperity. Let's stay in touch, okay?
Absolutely. It was my pleasure. Wish you guys all the best.
Well, hey, that's a wrap, folks. Thank you so much for listening to Rise Up in Real Estate. If you liked hanging out with us today, please find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Rise Up in Real Estate. Also, follow us right now on your favorite podcast host to hear more episodes. We really appreciate you spending some of your time with us. And until next time, let's do each other a favor and all help each other rise up.